Blessings to you, our friends. We are the Ancestral Medicine Women, healing from the past for the present and the future.
We'll say welcome and greetings to all of the people that are here today. This is not something that I am familiar with, this way of doing it, but I am imagining that we are sitting together in a circle, so perhaps then I can be able to communicate well with everybody. So this thing that we are to talk about today was something that was that we were discussing with Bradley, because he had some issue and we were amazed that there was this emphasis on this idea of living in the now, living right now, not looking at the past and not looking at the future and worrying about the past and worrying about the future and regretting the past and planning for the future and all of this, but just to forget that and just live in the now. And this we found very confusing, because from the perspective that you are living in the now. There's no trying to live in the now. There's just, you are in the now. You are living in the now. Right now I am speaking to you, but already what I have said is in the past, but we are in the now. So, and this was something that we were amazed at, that people spend their much time and anguish and energy and try to change the way they live and their belief system because they want to live in the now, without actually realizing that they are living in the now. They are already here. And they try to not look back and to have regrets, or not to live in the past. In other words, maybe they like some period of history and they wish that they could revert to that, or they want to revert to what they think is a simpler life, which was many generations before. Or they see over there the grass is very green, and if only they could get to that point, then they would be happy. Or they say, right, when I do this, then I will have this much money and then I will be happy, this kind of thing. And then they say, people say, don't do that, because you're wasting your energy. You are spreading yourself thin, and you can't focus on what is happening right now, living in the now. But we find this very confusing, because you are living in the now, and all of these thoughts that you are having of the past and of the future, and all of these ideas that you are having them in the now. So we question this emphasis of living in the now, as if it's something that you're not already actually doing. As if it's something that's so separate from the world that you are currently inhabiting, this living in the now, that you must actually strive to do it. And by striving to do it, it's like then you're actually living in the future, because you're striving for that, instead of actually just acknowledging that that's what you're doing. You're doing that. You're living in the now. Already you're here. Every breath that we take, we're doing it right now, not in the past and not in the future, but it's simultaneously the past and the future when it is the present. So when people are saying, live in the now, just focus on the now, be present, etc., etc., at the same time, the past and the future is happening. So all of these things, the past, the present, and the future, they're all happening together. But if you are just focusing on the present and say, this is where I want to be, I forget everything else and I just look at where I am now, then you are not actually living a whole life. You are separating yourself from all of these things that are going on in the background, if you like. All of these things, the past, the present, and the future, which are all happening, if you like, at the same time. You're separating yourself, saying, I'm going to live there in the present. I'm not going to worry about this past and this future. I'm just going to live in the present. And when I live in the present, then I'll be happy. Because when I'm living in the present, when I'm living in the now, nothing that's happened in the past will bother me, or I will try to suppress anything that does, or etc. And nothing in the future will take my attention away from what is happening right now. And this is why we are confused, and maybe you are confused as well, because actually that's what you're doing anyway. You're already in the now. You're already living in the present. So this was the basis of what we were saying to Bradley. Why are you worrying about all of these other things when actually you're living here in the now? Why do you think, I have to be present, I have to spend my time just focusing? But that's where you are. And when people can realize that that's where they are, then they don't have to worry about it anymore. They don't have to worry about living in the present. They don't have to worry about living in the now, because they know they're already there. And every single thought that they have, whether it's from the past or whether it's from the future, is actually in the present. It's actually happening in the present. So you can't get away from that. Anybody who listens to this, you can't get away from the present, because that's where you actually live. You actually live right there. So we are saying, please, don't try to live in the present and separate it from all of these other aspects of yourself, which is things that have gone on in the past or are still running in the past, and things that are in the present and maybe are still running in the present. The more you separate yourself from that, the more problem you will have. So we say, please focus yourself and understand that you are already in the present. Already you are there. If you are getting thoughts in the present from things that have gone on in the past, or you are thinking that, I want to live a simpler life and I want to go back to times where there was none of these screens, and there was this idea that you got up with the sun, you went to bed with the sun, and you worked in the fields and you fed yourselves and all of this. And we have to laugh at that, because if people think that was simple, they're very mistaken. But anyway, there is this if you are thinking that right now, then that is actually in your present. Not in your past, but in your present. So we would say to you, why is it in your present? What is it that's knocking on your present door? That is from the past. Let's just say we won't worry about the future right now, but it seems from the past, but it's actually happening in the present. So the question is it the past or is it the present? Now you could say, well, does it really matter? And we would perhaps clap our hands and say, bravo, exactly, does it really matter? But some people it does matter, because they're focusing too much on that. They're spending their energy on this past experience, and it's bothering their present. It's holding them back, they think. It's stopping them from moving forward. It's stopping their life from actually, or them from actually existing. That's what they think. This is the past when it's coming into the present to bother them. But we would say, okay, yes, they may be the things that's happening, but it's happening in the present. So you're already in the present. You don't need to focus just on the present, because if these things are happening or have happened in the past, or you want to live in the past or whatever, then that is the behavior, or it's informing your behavior. Your present behavior is informing those thoughts, etc., etc. So you can see from just what we are saying that this is very confusing. And you can see why we would be confused when people are saying, I want to live in the present, I must focus all of my energies on the present and not focus on what could be or what has been, but just be here. That's confusing in itself. So we come back to this idea of confusion. The more that you try to be in this present place, even though you are already in the present place, you can see already there's confusion. You're trying to be somewhere you already are. And then you have we'll just focus on the past, because the present and the past in this context, they're the same. You have these things in the past which are bothering the present. For some reason, they're bothering the present. And but you want to push them away. But they're bothering you in the present, but you want to push them away. That's confusing. One is saying, here it is in my present, but I'm pushing the present away because it's the past. So, more confusion. The same thing happens with when you look to the future. But, I don't want to focus too much on that because I have to live in the present. What happens will be. But it's bothering you in the present. But you're going to push that away, even though it's in the present and you want to work in the present, you want to be in the present, and this thing from the future is coming to bother you. There is confusion. So all around there is confusion. When there is confusion like that, how can you possibly live your life? How can you possibly move forward or even just moving on the same spot up and down with the legs? You can't because you're so confused. Am I here? Am I there? Do I want to be there? I don't want to be there, but I want to be here, but I can't be here because that's here, and I can't go there because that's over there and it needs to be here, la la. Can you understand how we would be confused that you want to live your life like this? Right? So the first thing is, you live in the present. You live in the now. You simply cannot get away from that absolute fact because your physical body is right here with you right now. Right here. So you live here. You can't get away from it. If things from the past are coming into the present to bother you, to make you question things, or they are making you behave in particular ways, then it's happening in the present. So you are again in the present. The same thing for the future. It's happening in the present. So the first thing is, if you then try to separate that, I can't have that, I have to separate, you start to separate aspects of yourself. When you start to separate aspects of yourself, you are no longer whole. You are bits of yourself. How can bits of yourself function together if you want to separate them? How can they function as a whole complete unit? It's impossible. It's impossible. So, you just imagine I'm in the present. Okay, I'm in the present. That's it. End of that story. There are things from the past that are bothering me. They're coming into my present. So, what do? Do I suppress them? Do I accept them? Do I work on them? Whatever you do, it's going to be done in the present. Doesn't mean that you don't focus on these things, that you don't look at these things in your life and you say, well, I regret not taking that job, right? Let's just say that's a good one. You have a job, 2 jobs come up. This is 10 years ago, let's say. And 10 years ago, there were the 2 jobs. And you say, oh, I like this one, that one's good too, but I like this one. Now, 10 years later, in the present, the job that you chose isn't so great. And you think, I should have taken that other job. Now, is that problem from the past, or is that problem in the present? We would suggest it's in the present because it's now that you're discovering that this job isn't great. Not in the past, when you had the choice of the 2 jobs, but now. All of this time later. So this is not a problem of the past, this is a problem of the present. So you are in the present. But if you try to separate that problem and say, I should have done that in the past, then I wouldn't be in this situation now, then we would say that you are separating aspects of yourself, because in that past when you made that choice, you were obviously in the present at that time. And there were things that were informing you that made you make that decision. Now you're in this point here, in the current present. You see, we get very confused. In the current present, and you don't like that job. I should have taken this other job. But it's in this period right now, this present right now, that you've discovered that. And so let's look at what's happening now. So now you can see why it's confusion, because now we're saying, look at the present. Do you understand why we say this is confusing? Look at the present. Why now are you worried about this? Why now is it an issue for you? Don't blame it on the present. Look at right now. And the more that you say, incorporate the past into the now and accept that what's happened in the past is affecting right now, you are in the now, and so that means we have to work on the now, same with the future. The more you incorporate your whole being into the one complete unit, and you can actually make some effect on your life, make some changes, make some decisions on your life. Does everybody understand what we are saying to this point?
So you have to unmute if you want to talk. Sorry, Carrie?
Yes, yeah, that's making more sense to me than you believe.
So, what we want to say now is there anybody who has some questions? Maybe you have some personal thing, or maybe you just want some clarification. Because, from our point of view, we've said enough on this one topic. Because if we say more, it will just become more elaborate and more confusing. So does anybody have some question?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Sorry, I can't hear anybody.
You can speak. Ask your question.
Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry. Look, I've just found more recently that I've been, as they say, off with the fairies more often than not, and not feeling terribly grounded. I suppose that's what it is. And yet that gives me a perspective over my whole timeline, whereas being sort of in the now, as they say, is so focused. I agree with you. So focused on something that's a minute part of our existence that you are blocking off the rest of it. I'm not sure where the comfortable place is.
You know, that's interesting that you said you are off with the fairies, but being in this, focusing on this one now is can be quite limiting, because, and you say you don't know where the comfortable place is. The comfortable place is, funnily enough, where you feel comfortable. So, you see, this is what we are trying to say. You live in the now. You cannot get away from that. If, whilst you are living in the now, you choose to spend your time wondering what it would be like to live somewhere in some previous time, for example, right, where it was, in inverted commas, simpler. And that's what you, and so you create your present life right now in sort of a replication of that, right? So what we are getting from Caroline is, because her favorite thing for her is Jane Austen, right? Lots of women, they say, oh yes, I can understand that. The men don't understand, but the women, they get it. And there was this sort of genteel time where people were, their pervading view is that they did some sewing and they played some instruments and they went for nice walks and they had their meals presented for them and all of this type of thing. But the thing that attracts a lot of women, and Caroline especially, is that it was seemingly quiet and peaceful. There was not lots of noise coming from lots of different places like there is now, right? And so, is it bad? Is it wrong for Caroline and other people like her to try to bring some of that essence into her own personal now? We would say, no. Why is that wrong? She knows she's not living in that time. She knows that, but she wants to bring some of the essence of that into this time right now. You understand? So, for you, it's the same thing. If you are feeling that being off with the fairies, as you say, is the place for you right now that is comfortable, and in that place right now that is comfortable, you can feel complete. You see, it's when you start to feel not bad, but perhaps that's the only thing that we can come up with, bad about yourself, that there is these separations, right? That if you start to feel bad about the fact that you're off with the fairies, that's when you're not comfortable, right? So then you have to look and say, okay, why am I now in this present position? Why am I off with the fairies? And why does it bother me? Why does it bother me? Do you see what we're trying to say?
Yeah, I guess my concern is more that other people have noticed it, and it doesn't really bother me too much.
Well, there you go. And the thing that you have to remember always, when something bothers, and you already know this along with everybody else here, when something bothers somebody else, it's often not your problem but their problem.
Yeah.
Right? It's something that they don't like. It's something that affects them. It's something that maybe they're projecting, maybe you're projecting. It doesn't matter, but somehow they are affected. And they are reacting to that affectation. That doesn't mean you go through your life and just do whatever you want and harm people and what have you. That's not what we're talking about. You are not talking about that either. We are talking about when you are happy in yourself, right? And you are just going along in your life, not really bothering anybody, just enjoying your own space, your own mind space, your own activities, and it's not really affecting anybody. And then people tell you can't live like that. You can't live like that. You have to go out into the world and you have to be successful and responsible and you have to be this and you have to be that. But that's not what you're feeling right now. You're feeling something else. So we would say if you went out and did all of those things that all of these people told you to do, would you feel right now, would you feel complete? Would you feel as if you were doing something that was good for you, or are you doing something that you know is going to placate them and stop them from harassing you? Which of course is also causing you some grief, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it becomes where if you imagine that this idea that we are talking about of the now and then the past and the present running all together with the future. So if you think about this, let's just we have one circle, and that you are that circle and you are living right now in this very present moment. And then behind you, outside the circle, is a long line, right? What do we call it, Bradley? The long line of reason, right? It's a long line. And on that is like the past, the present, and the future. And they're all running together at the same time. Always, because already we've discussed that what we say right this minute is already past, and what we are going to say right now is already gone to the future. It's now the present, right? So that long line of reason is always moving up and down, always moving. It's completely dynamic. Right, so you're here in this present space, and behind you, if you like, is this line, and the past, the present, and the future, constantly dynamic creation. So you are there in this in the circle, in the present, right? If you decide that you are unhappy in that space, in the present, in that circle, we would suggest that it has begun to there is some separation, right? Some separation. Maybe it is just broadening out and you are letting things in that are not healthy for you, whatever that could be anything. So you are in that, you have to imagine yourself in that space, in that circle, but behind you running is this long line of reason, and it's always moving. It's always running. So Carrie is there in that circle. You are right in the now. It's complete, that circle, because the now is complete. Right at this present, it's complete. So it's like you have two presents, if you like, right? The present that you're in, and then there's this long line of reason where there's the constant movement. So there is a connector that connects the circle to that long line of reason. Let's just say it's a cord, an electric cord, an energy field, whatever you want to, however you want to imagine it. But it's only so long. So if you're being pulled away, or you're allowing yourself to be pulled away, or if you are trying to suppress something or not allow the natural progress of the past, present, and the future to occur, then you will start to separate from that. And then you will start to feel uncomfortable. The place of comfort is when that circle is connected in the short connection to this long line of reason that's behind you. Does this make some sense to you?
Yes, yeah. From my off with the fairies position, I have the sense of eternity for my spirit, and the part that my current life is playing in that. Whereas when I come down into the now, it's just forget about everything else, as you're saying, and it's got nothing to do with you, which is not true.
But you have to
because all of those things inform.
continue.
Sorry.
Continue.
I was going to say all of those things, the past, the present, the future, and any lifetimes that you've had, inform who you are at this point, either consciously or unconsciously.
That's right, but we have to be very clear that when you said then that when you are in the now, that everything else sort of when you're focusing on that, but we really want you to understand that when you say you are off with the fairies, that is your now.
Yes,
it's not separate. And that's what we are really trying to say.
Okay.
Your now is that, as you say in these words, you are off with the fairies. That is your now, right? And and if you try to say that there is another now in this present, then you are sort of separating yourself. Do you understand what we're saying?
Yes, I understand. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Is there anybody else who wants to have some question or clarification?
Yes, me, Di. Di, and also Jeff, but Di comes first.
Yes, because this is the man, the shaman man, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm his other half.
Yes, that's
and
right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Following the line of reason, if I understand correctly, that is also following cause and effect. And our past, whether it be thoughts or actions, are causes that have an effect in our present.
Yes.
And so the causes, if I understand
Kerry, can you mute your phone, microphone? Hang on a sec, Di. Kerry?
Thank you, sorry.
Kerry, can you mute your microphone, please?
Thank you. If I can understand this now, that our way of being, our energy, our consciousness, our conscious thought processes are causes that determine our actions that have an effect. So the way that we, for example, if I make a complete mess up in my life that really seriously affects my life and my well-being in the past, what I am feeling now is the effect of that. Now, which obviously has, well, if I can understand correctly, I won't say obviously, that's a bit wrong, but if I can understand correctly, that also has an effect on my future. Now, if where I am now, I change my way of thinking, if I change my energy, and in other words, go along a completely different line of probability. If I'd stayed the same, I would continue along the same line of reasoning, line of probability that would have a pretty much determined effect. But if I change from what I was at the cause, say at the cause of the calamity, if I change myself through purification, through meditation, through self-examination, various other means, with help from other people like from Brad and Caroline, then I change the way that I am in the now, and that will hopefully, or I'm asking now to the mothers, will that have a definitely different and pronounced outcome on the future, on the effect, in other words? So can I change the future if I change myself?
Well,
That's my question.
Yes, this is very interesting. So let's look at this from the beginning. So let's just say that some time ago you made a decision, right? And that decision, you are feeling the effect now, right now. Now, that thing, whatever it was, you did this thing in the past, but it is right now that you are feeling, as you say, the effect. So it is both a problem of the present and a problem of the past. But when it happened in the past, it was actually the present. And then you could even go back and say, well, that was a problem of that present, but of the past as well, of another past. So you can see that you can keep going back and back, or you can go forward and forward. Now, what we suggest is that when you come to a point in your life where you say, this is the effect of a decision that I made some time ago, you can separate that. Right? You can separate the present from the past and say cause and effect. And you can say they're two separate things. What we are suggesting is that you just do away with that concept, if you like, of separateness. Because when you say separateness, then what you're trying to do is to remedy, in a way, remedy the person that you were that made that decision in the past. But you are here right now. So what we would say is right now, this particular thing is having some effect. But right now, what kind of person are you that it is having an effect? Right now, what kind of effect is it having? Is this effect actually to do with the actual decision that was made in the present, which is now the past? Is the effect to do with the decision or with the making of the decision? What kind of person were you? Maybe the person that made that decision, who has and the effect is not so great, maybe the person that made that decision is actually an all right person. So do you really want to change that person, or do you want to look at the effect that it's having and change or address the situation? So not the person, but the situation. So then you can say, well, and then if I change this, and then the future will be different. But what we're trying to say is try very hard to not separate those things out, but just imagine that they are all happening at the same time. The present right now, right this very, very millisecond, is the past. Right? It's past already. But it was the future before. We said right this very minute it was the future. So they're happening at the same time. And yes, you can say, oh, but Mother Shariah, it's easy for you to say because you're talking about this right now, but I'm talking about something that happened 10 years ago and could affect me in 10 years in the future. But what we are saying is years really don't exist. Years exist, or time as is described or used in your life, is just a way to organize. That's what time is. It's an organizer. So we would say to you, try not to focus that this thing happened in the past and now is affecting, and if I can make a change, then the future will be different or better or what have you. But just look at this present situation and see it as the complete package, the past, the present, and the future. Complete. And remember, we said that you are like in this circle, in this very present, right this very second, and behind you there is this long line of reason that's constantly moving, constantly dynamic. Imagine that constantly dynamic space is actually, by the connector, is actually informing what is happening right now. So even though it might have happened as we can say 10 years ago, it's the right now that it's having the dynamic effect on, because it's running up and down, past, future, present, all the time on this long line of reason that is actually always moving, always informing, always developing, always changing for the present, which is right this very minute. And that long line of reason is the thing that will bring, let's just say, maybe we change the words, it will bring to consciousness something that is happening now, but maybe in this linear time it happened in the past, and it's going to have an effect on the future, but it's right now. So what we're saying is, yes, all right. In the background, there is this line of reason: the past, the present, and the future, and it's constantly moving, and it all informs each other, and it all, decides behavior, etc. But even though that's going on, and we said before that this is why it's confusing. We said don't focus on the present because you're already in the present. Now we're saying to you, all of that's going on anyway. All of that stuff behind is going on anyway. You are right here in the present. So how is it affecting you in this present? How is this particular whatever it is expressing right now, right in the present? And just look at that. Don't look at repercussions. Don't look at regrets and what could have happened. Just look at right now. Right now, because that's where you are. You can't get away from it. You're right there. Does that sort of give you some explanation?
No, not really. I'm sorry. I think I'm even more confused because to me, I am probably completely missed your point, but to me that makes it seem as if it doesn't matter what you do, you can't change yourself. If you made a mistake in the past, that's you pay for it. Doesn't matter how hard you try to change. Is that more or less what we're saying?
No, not at all. One.
Jai, can you mute your mic, please, buddy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
No, you can't hear me now, can you?
Yeah, we can hear you now. There was some noise. Your sound was loud, and it was coming back through the mic. So just when you're not talking, just go mute if you could, please. Sorry, Di, do you want to?
I didn't really hear Mother Shariah's response there. I'm sorry. I'm feeling terribly depressed.
Do not feel depressed, because what we want to say to you is this: we are not. What we are talking about now is not really about. How can we say this? It's not about change and about healing, etc. All we are trying to say is that this is life, right? This is life. There is right now where you are right now, and behind that is this long line of reason, past, present, future, constantly dynamic, constantly there. So all we are saying is, if you separate those things, if you separate and say, that's the past, and I did something in the past I don't like, and I have to change my behavior, or so that doesn't happen again, or so that the future is not affected by what happened in the past. We're not saying you don't change. We're just saying, look at it right now. Don't necessarily focus on what could have been or what was done, but how is it affecting this right now? And that's what you can work on. You can't work. What we're trying to say is, let's just say that the job one, you chose the wrong job, right? And you went to this job instead of that job because at the time that was the thing. You cannot go back 10 years and change that job. Even if you went into that other job right now, it would not be the same. It would be completely different because you are completely different. So all we are saying is, yes, by all means, look at where you are right now. How is this thing upsetting your life or affecting you? How does it make you behave? What about it do you not like? And by all means change. But what we are saying is, don't change for future outcome. Change for now. Right? So that you can live now. Do you understand what we say?
I do. But it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's very difficult. And this is why, you see, and this is very interesting. This is why those people that have gone out to the world and said, just live in the now. Just live there. Just be present. They are very successful. Why? Because they have lots of followers. Because it means that people don't have to worry about the past and the future. They just live for now. But what they're doing is separating themselves from those events, right? You see how it gets confusing? Because now we're saying, don't separate yourself from those events. But that's what they did with that just living in the now, just working in the now, in the present. You're just being here, focusing on now, not on the past, not on the present. But we're saying it's running anyway. You can't get away from it. That past, because you yourself know that something that happened before is affecting your life now, and you don't want it to affect the future. So it is already running, right? And if you are trying to move away from that, then you are separating yourself from aspects of yourself which may actually be beneficial for you. They might be upsetting, they might be joyful, they might be detrimental or seemingly detrimental now, but they might actually give some benefit. But you can only work in the now. You can't say, if I do this now, that will be the outcome. That's the outcome I want. That's where I'm going there, and that's if I change that, it will make up, or it will change the outcome of something that I did so many years ago, and that will not be the same, and then the future will be different. You see how confusing that becomes? How can you work with that? How can you work with that, all the past, the present, and the future, all separated out? You can only work if they're all together. If you are a complete package and you say, right now, this is how it affects me. Right now. The other thing, when you work like that, is the whole package. Let's say that something happened some time ago, it's affecting you now, you make a change so that the future is different, right? But then as you go on your journey towards this future, it's not serving you. Do you feel like you failed? Do you feel like that you are this bad person that made that decision all of those years ago, even though you tried to change? Obviously you can't, and here you are. Maybe you do, who knows? But the thing is, if you work with the whole complete package right now, and you say, right, yes, these things are running behind my scenes here, the past, the present, and the future, it's all coming, it's informing the way I am now, but this situation, I don't like it, I want to change what's happening right now, not for the future, not to repair the past, but right now. That gives you lots of leeway, lots of leg room, lots of places to move around. If it's not working out, you just say, right, I have to try again. Not because you're working to something towards the future, which may never come, let's face that, but you're working on the right now to make your life right now great. Not to look at the future and say, then my life will be great, or in the past my life was great until I made that decision, then it really screwed everything up and the whole world was rubbish after that. But right now, because you can only be right now. That's where you live. You live right here. You don't live in the future, you live right here.
I understand that. Thank you. Really,
because we are confused. We find this trying to this is what we said to Bradley when we discussed it again. We said it will be confusing because we are saying the same thing but differently, and we are also saying something different but the same. So it's very confusing. But if the message that we can get to people who want this message, if the message can be that you live right in the now, that's it, you live there. Don't try to be anywhere else. You can't anyway. You can't be anywhere else. You can only be in the now. But so work with what you've got in the now.
Sorry, can I just ask a question on that point?
Yes, please.
How does this question actually affect you in your being, because you have to now work on a sphere where it is affecting the past and the future and the now? Does that affect you in your spirit outlook?
This is the shaman, right? Question. This is the shaman. That's right. That's right. So now we talk shaman now. Yes, you are right, because even, how can we say this? When you are working, like we have just spoken about, that you are in this place right now and that's where you are, that's what you can work with, right? Only that. But it, of course, is in the background is this past, present, and future. So what happens right this very minute? That's why we say that this long line of reason is completely dynamic and changing all the time and creating all the time, because right this very moment, constantly new information, right? New information goes to inform that line, to create, to make changes that may or may not be felt for you right now, whatever, but may be felt by others, doesn't matter. So for us though, for me, I am not really here, right? I'm not really here, but the mothers have always said that they are constant, even though they're not really here in this physical plane. They are, let's just use that term, behind the veil. Really, we don't like that term, behind the veil, because, but anyway, let's just use that. They are not here in the physical sense, they are behind the veil, yet, as anybody who comes into contact with them, you, anybody here, Bradley, anybody who is in the ancestral line, doesn't matter. When they learn something, whatever it might be, it increases the consciousness of the whole group, right? And so that means that whatever that thing is, the whole group is brought along. And so it's like, if you can imagine, there is a constantly expanding consciousness, constantly. You as a shaman will have experienced this when you are working with people. You are even your partner, she does this spirit work with people on their, how can we say, like on their soul, right? She connects with that and she can read them and help them, etc. When that happens, you can feel there is an expansion, just so slightly even sometimes, of consciousness. All of a sudden, it's like there you are in the world. The mind has opened up. There is this more information, but it's not really it's not information that you can write down. It's just like you have this knowing. It's all available. So for us, for me, that's what happens to me right now. But it's all the time. It's not because of course the present is all the time. It's a constant thing. But for me personally, and for all of my sisters, if you like, the mothers, we are constantly dynamic, if you like. It's a constant movement. And with that constant movement is a constant, what is this word we are looking for, Bradley? Not taking in, but absorbing. Absorbing. All this knowledge and information that affects the past, the present, the future, but it's in a constant movement, constantly moving. So it's not like, how can we say, it pinpoints something and says that's what it's going to affect. It's not like that. It's just this energy that swirls around, if you like, that we absorb and makes us bigger, makes our experience bigger. For the human being who is in the physical world, in the physical experience, if you can just not focus, but if you can just imagine that you are in the now, right, and everything is happening in the now, and that any change that you want to make is in the now, then what is happening is the same thing can happen to you. You can open up your mind. We say mind, you can call it whatever you want, to open it up to that knowing. Because once you can really be complete without separating aspects of yourself out, but really be complete and say, I am here right now in this space, experiencing this, knowing that behind the scene there is all of these things going on that is maybe affecting what I am feeling right now. Then if you can imagine that you are complete, you accept all of that and you complete yourself, then what happens for you is not just when you are having a shamanic experience, for example, or a channeling experience, or a meditation experience, or a prayer experience, but in your everyday life, you are completely open to this consciousness, this field, if you like, of knowing. It's just there for you, right? Now, for some people, they don't want that because it's maybe, like Carrie says, off with the fairies, right? So they don't want to be like that. They want to be more humanly complete. That's fine. But let's just say, for somebody like you, you can live in that space, right? You can be there if that's what you want to be. Does that answer your question, or have we completely gone into a different dimension?
No, I don't think so. I think that's actually quite clear, to be quite honest. Very clear. But can I just maybe put this as, like, in a different way? I mean, which is another part of the question is, does a tortoise, and I'm going to use a tortoise because we perceive this to be very slow, does it have a thought process of being longer in the now because of we perceive its movement, or because of it being very slow and living a very long period of time, would it have a faster process of being in the here and now? And I'm using that.
Well, again we come back to what we were saying to Diana, was that this concept of time. You see, humans have this the time, right? Because you need to be organized and you need to know what you're doing from 1 minute to the next, and the seasons, etc. Does a tortoise have that? No, they just exist. They're just there.
Yes.
Right? So, as far as you are concerned, yes, they are here for a long time. They walk slowly, their metabolism is slow, and everything about them is big and cumbersome and what have you, and they live for long earth years, what have you. But for them, they just are, right? It's just that's their existence. And if you think about it like this, let's just say that even if we have the time, right? We have this concept of time. But let's just say that for the human, it was really normal to live for 200 years. That was just the way it was. That was the life cycle, 200 years. You would not think it took a long time to get to 100, right? It would go like in the click of the fingers. Just like now, people get to, let's say, 45, which we can say is maybe middle age now because of the time people spend on earth is getting more closer to 80, 90, right? So let's just say 45. And they think, I haven't done anything with my life. I've done nothing with my life. All I've done is I've done work, but I'm not fulfilled. And so they go through this, what they call this midlife crisis, and they try to do other things and become other people, etc. Well, if you were living for 200 years, maybe you would do that at about 100 years. So you would have had all of this time, right? And then you get to 100 years and you think, wow, I've done nothing. I've done nothing with my life. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy, etc. So it's all really a perception of your own space and time, your own existence. Does that answer your question?
But yeah, in a way, yes. But if we lived longer, would we have a faster thought process or a slower one? Because of the perception that we have of time.
Well, the thing is, if you lived longer and it was normal, right, that was normal to live for 200 years, then whether the perception of time was fast or slow, it would be normal. You see, now it's normal for it to be what it is, right? So we think that the tortoise has this long life, and we are alarmed if somebody dies when they are 20, right? So we think, oh, that's very short. Very short. If we lived for 200 years, 20 would be like a baby, right? We would think that was even shorter, because we have this long span to experience life. Now we look and we say, well, maybe we have 70 to 90 years, and that's the span that we have to experience life. People, as we said, they get to a particular age, let's just say 45, and time has gone slowly up until that point. And then they look and think, oh my goodness, I've got 30 or 40 years, I better get a move on. And they start to hurry through their life, right? Because they've got this limited time now.
Yeah.
And so it's just the perception before that. You can even say, these young people that are, let's just say teenagers, or these young youth people, and they think that they are invincible. They can drive the car fast as they like. They can jump off trees, the very high trees, because they are invincible, right? And then you get to a certain age and you think, I'm not jumping out of that tree, I will break my leg. And it happens in the blink of an eye. 1 minute you are able to do anything in the whole wide world, and the next minute you are not. Now what happens? Is it time? Or is it just that your perception has changed or grown or developed? You've got more experiences going on, so you can see different possibilities. It's the same thing with what you're talking about, the perception of time. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so you're creating your own space.
Absolutely. You are creating your own space. And when we say that, it's not just your own person, right? It's not just your own being. No, yes, but when you say this word space, you are actually creating. If you imagine, if you stood up now, you would displace air around you so you could fit into that space, right? Sort of. Just imagine that. Just like if you went into water, the water would displace so you could fit in. So it's the same thing in life. You are actually creating physically the space to hold you on this planet. And around that space, you are emanating some sort of energy, whatever that kind of energy is. So when we come back to what Diana said before, when she said, but, if we don't worry about the past, the present, and we don't change, etc., what we wanted to say, but it wasn't really suitable, but now it is, thank you very much for the shaman, you are creating the space around you, and that energy is filling that space. So that is sort of like an answer to Diana's question. That energy that's around you, that is creating that space, does matter. It does matter. It is matter that matters, right? And so whatever that is that around that you are emanating, that's what is your expression. Your expression of what is happening right now. So let's just say you are unhappy about a decision that you made before. It's affecting you right now. The space that you are creating, the actual space, is emanating that, right? It's emanating that. And that emanation is going to affect the long line of reason, as well as people around you, and the actual space that you are inhabiting on this planet. When you think about things like that, right, then you become terribly, terribly conscious of what you are emanating, because you want the space that you are occupying on this planet to be pure. You want that space that you are occupying on this planet to be alive, to be beautiful, to be compassionate, to be caring, because that is the space that you are creating. No one else can create that space, just you.
Yeah, no, that's a very nice explanation, that.
Thank you. To my question as well.
Very good, that one. I like that. I grabbed onto that one quite nicely.
We are pleased. Is there anybody else wants to ask a question?
Jai? You're pretty good with abstract questions. Maybe to unmute you.
Was that Di?
No,
Jai, yeah.
no question.
No question? You sure?
No.
What?
Yeah.
What about Neville? Everybody gets to ask one question if they want one.
Yeah, Neville's here.
We give the questions for free. We give them away for free. You can have one if you would like.
Yeah, I was ready to ask when I was just turning my microphone back on, and it was one of, I see we're in the now, I see we're living, because that's where we're in the present. The question is, how much planning for the future should we be doing now so that we are actually looking forward to something that we want rather than just arriving in the future?
So, the question, basically, if you are, what we are saying is that it's all running behind the scenes anyway, right? This past, present and future. What you are asking is, can I have a goal so that I am actually working towards getting to something? What we would say to you is that you're already there. If you put something out to the front of you and say, right, I want to go on this holiday, or I want to what have you, then you're always getting to there. Yes, of course, you might get on that holiday, but even when you go on that holiday, you'll be anticlimactic, because all of the planning that's got you there, and then you go, it's like, wow, that's it. I did it. Wow. Right? So what we say is, you want to go on a holiday and that's over there, bring it to the present. And let's just say right here, right now, that everything that you have, all of your energy is looking at it in the now, not something that's going to happen. Sure, you have to save money, right? But you say, right, I have to save money. I have to save this much money every week out of my paycheck. That's happening in the now, not happening in the future. So what we say is, just shift your focus to, you're doing it anyway. You're going on that holiday. It's not something that you're planning to do. It's not something that you're wishing to do. It's not a goal that you're aiming for. You're going. You're on it. Right? Because you're saving the money every single week. That's what. So everything, what happens is, instead of having that future as something that's separate from you over there, it's actually part of who you are. So the energy, the space that you are creating on this planet is going to be, that holiday or what have you, is going to be included in the space that you're having right now. So it is a reality. Not going to be a reality. It is a reality. Now, this is very difficult to understand. We understand that it's difficult to understand, because if you're going on a holiday, it's over there, right? And if you're planning to go on a holiday, it's over there. And if you're saving up to go on a holiday, it's over there. When it's over there, it's always separate from you. And when it's separate from you, it's not part of, it's an aspect of you that is cannot be fully realized, because it's over there. And then when you get there, you've got to sort of incorporate it into yourself. But because it's always been over there, yes, now you're there and you're going on your holiday, then there's other aspects of yourself that you have to, that are separate from that. So when you go on your holiday, who's going on the holiday? You say, I'm going on the holiday. I've been looking forward to the holiday. I've saved up the money, and this is my holiday self going on the holiday. So we say, yes, that's correct. That's you. But by separating it from yourself over there, it's always something that's, well, separate from yourself. It's never you. It's never who you are. It's never an aspect of you. It's always something that's separate from you. It's the holiday that you've had. It's the holiday that you're going on. Do you understand what we are trying to say?
Mostly, because the other question is, sometimes I think about, for example, you talk about holiday, think about a holiday, and then when I get there, it's too late to do anything, so I have to so-called not have a holiday.
Well, that's why, because it's over there, right? The holiday was over there. And what we're saying to you is, bring the holiday with you right now, so that you are in the holiday space. And everything that you're doing right now is taking you on that holiday, right? So the money saving, the planning, the booking, etc., it's all taking you on that holiday right now. Not something that's over there, that's going to, that you're aiming for. Because when you're aiming for it, imagine you have, what is this, the bow and the arrow, and you're a very good marksman, and you're aiming for the bullseye, right? And then somebody comes up and you're just about to take the shot, and then somebody, your neighbor, comes up and says, would you like to come for a drink, Neville? And as they say that, you look and you go off and you let go, and it misses the bullseye altogether. Right? You don't get what you were aiming for. That you didn't get there, because something else will always come and divert, right? Distract. But if right now you are going on a holiday, and everything that you do right now, and when we say right now, you understand it's a continuous thing. The right now is continuous, the what we are right now. If everything is geared toward, everything is about that, right? Then the saving of the money, the booking of the holiday, the buying of the clothes, the getting of the passport, the booking of the holidays, the deciding where you're going, it's happening right now. So the whole being is incorporated in this, right? The whole being. So then the holiday comes because it's what time in the future, right? But now we are there on the holiday, and it's like the event itself is not an anticlimax. It's not something that was there and finally I have arrived. Thank goodness I can leave all of my work behind me and my life behind me, and now I can go on my holiday, I can relax, etc. You're there. It's just here. Do you understand what we're saying?
Yeah, what often happens though is that I procrastinate and don't get round to booking it, so when the holiday time comes, I then can't go on holiday because I didn't book it in time.
Well, then that would be, that's definitely an issue of the now, is it not? Right now, not in the future, right? It's an issue of the right now. This is a perfect example of the right now. And so we would suggest that you would look at that right now and say, why am I not booking my holiday right now? What's stopping me from booking my holiday right now? What? Is it money? Well, I'm not going for 6 months, but I can book it right now, and then I can... Do you see what we're saying?
Yeah, I'm what's called a procrastinator.
Yes, many people are, but if you can incorporate this past, future and present right in the right now, then you are a whole package moving along your life, and everything is part of who you are. Not separate entities that are affecting you and causing you problem and causing you to procrastinate, right? But it's the whole package. You can't get away from the whole package. You can get away from things if they are separate from you. You can, of course you can. You can just turn your back, or you can walk the other way. But when it's the whole package, you can't walk away. You can't. You're just in it.
Yep. Thank you so much.
So, we think that's probably enough for now, because we've said quite a lot, and it's a lot to imagine and to visualize and to take in. So we thank you very much. We have really very much enjoyed speaking to everybody. It's been an interesting situation for us because we've not done it before, but we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.